Good morning, everyone. How are you today? I hope I find everyone well. Welcome to the Level 1 podcast. Today is Sunday, the 3rd of September, 2023. And as you know, Sunday is React Day. So today we'll be heading over to DSP Reacts immediately following this podcast to watch the clips that you guys have nominated for me to watch this week. Also, later tonight, we'll have the continuation of Starfield, which is great because we're going to be focusing on some story elements tonight after doing an entire 3+ hour stream yesterday based on exploration and side content. So, good variety on the streams today. The lighting today may be a little off. Yesterday, I accidentally hit a bunch of buttons by accident on this thing, and I can't tell. Does it look a little dark? Hold on. I can't exactly tell if we're bright enough or not. Does that look a little better? I think that's a little better, right? What happened was yesterday, every day I turn this on and off. And by the way, this light has 3 settings. Did I ever show you guys the other settings? Hold on. This is something fun to do, silly to do. So this has 3 lighting settings. It's got this one here. It's also got this one. Ready? Oh, God, terrible. This is like bright LED light. See that? Terrible. Way too awful, too white, too washed out. And then it's got this one, which is like blue. Okay? So obviously, out of all those settings, this is the natural light that you would want. This is like natural sunlight, basically, is what it's trying to simulate. I don't know why anyone would want those other 2 lighting settings. That's this ring light. I don't get it. I really don't know who would like those. But every day I turn it on and off when I'm done. And last night I went to turn it off and I hit, like my finger just like slipped and grazed all the buttons and it went brrr. So it went to the wrong color, wrong lighting level. I was like, oh God, I don't even know, if it's the right settings. Now that I'm looking, I think this is correct. This looks about right, doesn't it? I think so. So hopefully, no issues there. Sorry about that. So how's everyone doing? I hope you're having a good weekend. I hope you're enjoying everything that I'm doing, but at the same time, I hope that you're also safe and healthy. Today is our variety day, as opposed to the rest of the week where typically we do gameplay, every day, all day. Today is the day where we mix things up a little bit. I call it React Day, but technically it's DSP versus the internet. It's my weekly show over on my sister channel, DSP Reacts. You can find it at youtube.com/@DSP Reacts. Okay, once a week. People who are channel members on that channel nominate clips from all over the internet. I mean, just to give you some perspective, I'm taking a look at the screen right now, and I see a game trailer. I see some kind of a animated music video. I see someone doing a vlog. I see something to do with the canine. Just you see what I mean? Completely random. You never know what you're going to see on that show because it really is the viewers who determine what we do on that React show. Some weeks are better than others, but it's always randomized. This week, we had more people than ever nominating videos, because last week, if you remember, a week ago on Saturday, was my 15th anniversary special. And that entire special was run over on the React channel. And during that special, there was a lot of generosity. So some people gifted memberships over on DSP React. And because of that, people who got gifted memberships were able to nominate videos this week for the first time. So we actually had, I want to say overall, we had more nominations this week than we usually would. But I had to eliminate a lot of nominations this week. And I got to explain to people what's going on with this, because I think some people either haven't listened to the rules or just aren't paying attention. I will also reiterate this over on that channel. But there's two rules that a lot of people seem to be ignoring, so allow me to explain. Rule number one. I cannot watch any video that is flagged for mature audiences. Alright? Why can't I watch videos on YouTube that are flagged for mature audiences? Because those are for 18 plus viewers. If I do that on my live stream will be blocked. Because not everyone watching the live stream is 18 plus. Do you see? So if you watch mature viewer videos during a live stream, your stream gets shut off. So I can't do that. Like, literally, I wish I could. I mean, I have no problem watching. Usually those videos have adult language or graphic content like violence. I don't mind that. But I can't watch it on a stream. It will actually not be allowed on YouTube. So my apologies, but I keep telling people this. I can't watch anything that's flagged for kids, and I can't watch anything that's flagged for adults. Why can't I watch stuff flagged for kids? Because stuff on YouTube that's flagged for kids is permanently disabled for monetization. So if I react to a kid's video, that means my entire video gets demonetized. And things that are flagged for kids have other restrictive criteria. So if I'm watching a video flagged for kids, but then I swear over it, it kind of creates this weird gray area that YouTube has issue with. So I can't do that either. I know that sounds really stupid, but that's what YouTube has created. That's the landscape they created for their own business. I didn't do it, they did. Okay? So basically, yeah, that's the deal. Now, I'm not kidding. As I was reviewing all the videos submitted for this week's React show, there were like a dozen videos flagged for adults, like adults only. I can't watch those, you know? Even if, like I said, I don't think any of them were like, none of them was like sexual content or anything like that. A lot of it was like, oh, graphic language, graphic violence. If it's been flagged for that, then I can't watch it. There was actually, if you can believe it, a Barstool Sports pizza taste test, and it was supposed to be one of the funniest ones because he was eating the pizza, and apparently the owner of the pizzeria came outside to argue with him about the quality of the pizza that they made at that pizzeria. He was upset the guy was going to give him a low review, so they get into a big argument, and apparently they're going back and forth, you know, in the street, but apparently there's a lot of bad language. Got flagged for adults, can't watch it. Alright, so that's number one. If you're going to submit videos for the React show, please understand we just can't watch those. Alright, it's just not possible. Alright, number two, I cannot watch any videos on the React show that are taken from official television stations, movie channels, or broadcasting networks. So for example, oh, here's a video straight from the BBC. I can't watch that. Those videos have already been copy protected on YouTube, and the moment you start watching it, within 30 seconds, it gets flagged to get your stream gets shut down. Every week, I see people submitting videos like this. Oh, here's one officially from the television show of some person, or here's one officially from this late night show, this news. I can't do it. They will literally get shut down, and there's nothing I can do. That's the way YouTube works, and this has always been the case. But I think what's happened is, in the last month or so, we've got a lot more people who are now channel members over on DSP Reacts, and they don't get that yet. You know, it's growing pains is what it is. People, you know, new people jumping on, and you know, they don't know what's going on because they haven't been around all the time, and now they finally have the opportunity to nominate videos. They're excited about it. I'm not blaming anyone. I'm just saying we need to be a little bit more tricky and a little bit more careful about this, because I was actually upset that there was I'm not kidding, a good like 15 videos this week that were nominated. There's no way we can watch them. So I had to eliminate them. In fact, one of them is an ultra submission, and I'm just going to play it for like 5 seconds to explain to everyone why I can't watch that clip, so that I don't want people to feel upset that, you know, oh, I skipped this person's clip or whatever. Sadly, that's just the case. That's how YouTube works, you know. It's weird because there's some people out there who just have been doing React content for endless amounts of time. I don't know how they do it. Like, there's people who all they do is react to shit. I don't know. Because for me, every week when I do this show, there's problems. I mean, lucky for me, this is only one very small amount of the content that I make on YouTube. And like I told you guys, the way I make money on DSP Reacts is not on the videos. Those videos make like no money at all. Seriously. Even last week during my 15th anniversary celebration, when we were reacting to my own gameplay clips, those were getting flagged as, oh, unsuitable for ads and stuff like that. So this content, this React content, does not make money based on people watching. It makes money based on people supporting the channel via things such as channel memberships. All right? So today, if you head over there to DSP Reacts with me after this stream, what will happen is when this stream goes down, after the podcast is over, there'll be a big pop-up. It'll say, hey, follow us over and come chill with us and let's have a good time together over on DSP Reacts for the show. Follow on over. And if you like the content over there, please support the stream, because absolutely contributions during that stream help a ton. And please consider becoming a member over there, or maybe gifting some memberships to the community as well. Since we've gotten more members over there, the show's gotten a lot better. Because what happened was, at first there was a big explosion of excitement for that channel when it first launched in February. Then, after a month or two, okay, now we kind of get what it is. And then we went way down to like maybe 50 members. But then, in the last couple of months, there's been a lot of excitement to get people gifting memberships, and we're over, like I said, last I checked, we were at 150 members. We very well might have lost some of those this week. But having that many members allows a wider variety of people to nominate videos. The wider variety, the better the show is, you see? So it just makes sense to keep that momentum going. It's just going to make this stuff better. So please consider it. And, you know, I'm excited to see what you guys have in store. The other thing is it's relaxing for me. Unlike when I have to make progress in a game or whatever. When I'm doing the React show, it's just me sitting here giving you my honest opinions on what we're watching. It's a lot more laid back of a day, you know? So I enjoy that, and I'm looking forward to that after our podcast ends here today. So how did yesterday go on my streams? It went pretty well. Second session of Starfield. Because this was a session where we had arrived at the first major hub city, New Atlantis, I decided the entire stream, all I was going to do was search around for side content and do side missions. That was literally 3 hours of my stream yesterday of Starfield. I had a great time, and some of the audience had a great time. But some of the audience already have turned against the game. I thought this was going to have way more action. This is boring. It's like, have you never played a Bethesda game before? Did you not see any of the Fallouts? Did you not ever play Elder Scrolls? Like, it actually gets me. Because, like, what were you expecting? Did you think that we were going to play this game and it was going to have Doom gameplay? Did you think that there'd be double jumping and rocket launches? Like, what are you talking about? It's a Bethesda RPG. There's going to be an insane amount of narrative. There's going to be an insane amount of exploration, content, dialogue, missions. That's how they're built. So if you went into this game with these expectations of grandeur, like this game was going to completely be groundbreaking and blow you away, I think you went into it expecting things that were never going to be in it. You see what I'm saying? Personally, I had a great time yesterday. I did. 3 hours of side content, meeting all kinds of people in the hub city of New Atlantis, and actually some of these quests that I completed apparently will continue later on. They're two-parters, so that's cool. But admittedly, after having done 3 hours of side content yesterday, I do feel like tonight when we play again on my late stream, we should continue with the plot. That way we alternate. It's not always just one thing or the other. We could go back and forth, you know, doing all this stuff. And that way it creates more variety rather than just more of the same constantly. So I do feel like that makes sense. You know, yesterday we upgraded some weapons. I actually found a rare weapon. Use it today, right? Instead of walking around doing more side content, use some of that stuff today. So we'll see how the story goes tonight. I'm excited. I hope you guys will join me tonight on the late stream, 6:45 p.m. for more Starfield. But just what I expected would happen has already happened. And here's what it is. The premiere stream on Friday, we had tons of viewers. We had tons of excitement. And then people saw what the game was. They said, oh, it's a Bethesda game. And then yesterday, we had half as many viewers. It's not shocking. I knew that was going to happen. Really, I knew it. Because I had the feeling everyone went into this with so many expectations that the game was going to be so different or so amazing. And it's still a great game, don't get me wrong. Like, so far, I feel like this is a combination of Fallout and Outer Worlds. That's kind of what it feels like. It's in space with the dialogue options and side quests of Outer Worlds, but it has RPG elements like Fallout. So it's kind of a hybrid of the two. And if that's what you're looking for, then you're going to enjoy this gameplay, and you're going to enjoy the streams, you're going to enjoy the playthrough. But if you were going into this looking for anything else, I don't know what, like, why were you? I'm serious. Like, why were people thinking this would be anything else? Everything that we saw up to now from Starfield looked like that, right? So it's weird to me that people are coming by the stream and complaining and saying, you know, oh, it's, you know, it's just it's a Bethesda game. Did you really think they were going to break the mold and do something completely different? I didn't. I never expected that. And the thing is, I'm a fan of Bethesda games. Every year we do a long-form playthrough of one. We did Fallout New Vegas, Elder Scrolls Skyrim, and then we just did Oblivion. And you guys love those, so I don't see the problem. But I think some people were just so expecting more, which is, I think, is ludicrous, okay? Was I expecting that Starfield was going to be a ginormous playthrough? No. Actually, what I thought would happen is that everyone would be interested in the first stream, and after that, we would get a regular audience of, you know, 300-400 viewers who would come by and chill with me, because it really is, I feel it's going to be a chill playthrough. I don't think this is going to be a playthrough that's going to be ultra challenging. I don't think there's going to be too much difficulty or frustration. There may be some of that when we try to understand some of the mechanics. Like, I've actually heard later on, if you try to build your own ship, it could be pretty complex. And or some of the things like settlement building as well and managing your followers can be a little complex. But outside of that, I think it's going to be par for the course what we would expect from this game publisher, this game developer. So I'm down for that. I'm down for playing Starfield over a course of months, having, you know, as now it's a daytime stream. Later on this month, likely what will happen is other games will take priority when they come out, and this will become a nighttime stream. And then it'll be like chill nights in Starfield with me, right? And we'll balance that with other stuff. I think that's perfectly fine. I actually don't see what the problem is with that. So I certainly hope you'll approach it like that with me as well. And if not, if it's not your cup of tea, apologies. I'm doing much more than that. You know, I'm not just playing Starfield. Currently, I'm juggling a ton of other games, as we're going to talk about right now. My second stream last night was Chrono Trigger. And we are, at this point, heading into the home stretch of the Chrono Trigger playthrough. I believe at this point we're around, I want to say we were around 16, 17 hours. Let me double check that. Wow, 18 hours. We were 18 hours into Chrono Trigger as of last night, okay? And we are in the part of Chrono Trigger where now you can like completely wander the map of all the time periods, and you can find all this stuff going on, all this fun stuff, side questing, and each quest usually has a character specific to it to develop their character further, and usually you get some really good gear or rewards by the end of the quest. Like yesterday we powered up Frog's sword, the Masamune, to become super powered, okay? So, it's great. But I would say probably 2-3 streams more tops of Chrono Trigger. If that. We might even beat it before then. So, thanks for chilling with me in Chrono Trigger. I'm excited for more later this week. In fact, I believe it's Tuesday night we're playing it again. And that should be fun, okay? So that's a great playthrough going on. We've also got more Street Fighter 6 gameplay coming up. And we got Armored Core 6 continuing. So with all of that stuff, if you don't like Starfield, that's fine. I hope that you'll come check out some of my other content. Remember, the middle of the month, we'll be checking out Lies of P, and I'll definitely be playing Mortal Kombat 1. So there's good variety coming this month. You know, if Starfield is a disappointment to you because for some odd reason you were looking for something other than a standard Bethesda RPG, well, there's much more happening, okay? So I hope that you'll tune into some of my other content then if, again, Starfield is not your particular forte of game, all right? All right, so now that we talked about that, let's jump into the schedule for the rest of the week. I'll give you a quick update on my health. And we got one big news story to talk about today. And then we'll probably head into shout-outs and interactive part of the stream. Okay? All right. So, schedule for the week. Today, it is DSP versus the Internet, my weekly react show over on DSP Reacts. And I certainly hope you will support that channel, because that is how I make my living, is supporting the streams and memberships over there. I hope that you will support that channel today. Tonight, it is more Starfield, and like I said, tonight we are going to go back and continue with the story, starting at 6:45 p.m. Pacific time. That way we'll get some advancement in that regard, and maybe make some decisions on what we want to do next in the playthrough. Tomorrow, Monday, it will be Armored Core 6 returning on the first stream. Last stream, we hit the first skill check of the playthrough, Baltius. And after conquering him, we moved on. We actually beat another tough stage. I have some pretty cool, unique builds now. I have the like dual miniguns build going on, which is quite fun, by the way. I had dual miniguns, and someone had actually recommended a different kind of missile I was like, all right, I'll give that a shot. So I'm enjoying the game a lot. I think a lot of people were expecting me to play Armored Core 6 and fail and rage and hate it, and it's the opposite. I'm actually really enjoying it, so I'm looking forward to that as a major stream tomorrow. Tomorrow night will be the continuation of Street Fighter 6. Honda, at the 5-star diamond level, trying to get him to master. All right? If I have a really good night tomorrow night, there's a chance I will hit master level with Honda. However, judging by the progress I've been making with Honda, which is much tougher than the progress I've been making with Blanca, because I don't feel Honda is nearly as good of a character as Blanca. He's more limited. He's harder to catch people with any kind of meaningful damage, and he gets locked down a lot by the top tiers. I feel like it's going to be slower going. So I'll do my best, but I don't think we're actually going to hit master with Honda tomorrow night. Then on Tuesday, all right, Starfield will become the daytime stream again, and then Tuesday night will be Chrono Trigger, as we probably start finishing up the side content and start to head into the end game of the game. And then Wednesday's up in the air. It's my final consecutive streaming day of the week, and I am open to having Wednesday be whatever you want. We could either do Armored Core 6, we could do Starfield on the daytime stream. Whatever you guys feel like. Now, depending on how we did with Honda tomorrow night, may determine, hey, do I want to play with Honda again on Wednesday? Are we this close to hitting master? Should we try to push and hit master on it, right? Maybe we should. Or maybe you guys will be tired out. Maybe you'll be pooped and be like, you know what? I don't feel like I want to see any more Street Fighter this week. We want something different. Maybe we want more chill Chrono Trigger. Maybe you want the day to be Starfield and Armored Core. I'm leaving Wednesday open. We got a few days to figure out what you guys want to see on Wednesday, so let's talk about it over the next several days. And like I said, tomorrow, how we do may very well to help determine what we're going to do on Wednesday, okay? Next week, daytime streams will be a balance between Starfield and Armored Core. Night streams will be a balance between Street Fighter and Chrono Trigger till we beat it. But Chrono Trigger will be beaten soon. So once Chrono Trigger is completed, what do we want to do next? And this is an important question, all right? I could focus more on the games I'm playing, therefore make more progress in Armored Core and Starfield. So basically every day would be a combination where it'd either be like Starfield and Street Fighter, Starfield, Armored Core and Street Fighter, and we alternate between the three games. Or we could start something new. I know people have been saying they want me to play Sea of Stars, all right? I'm down for that, but I am nervous coming off of a Chrono Trigger playthrough if you want to see me essentially play a modernized game that also plays like Chrono Trigger. You see? I don't know if that's what you guys would want or not. Outside of that, though, I'm a little apprehensive about starting anything too lengthy or meaningful because, like I said, around the middle of the month, we've got Lies of P and Mortal Kombat 1 coming up. So I am nervous that if I jump the gun and I start a new game, we weren't going to beat it by then, and now we got another game that's in limbo and we're never going to finish, right? So let's talk about that. As we are approaching the end of Chrono Trigger, we need to come to this determination of what comes next before the next playthrough that I do in the middle of the month. So I think we should start that discussion. I'm curious what your feedback is on that. And if you say Baldur's Gate 3, I'm going to be very upset with you because obviously there's not enough time to play that. Okay. All right, so outside of that, what else is going on? Not a heck of a lot. You know, this is an exciting month because there's new stuff coming. Starfield was kind of the beginning of that going on. And obviously I'm more excited for more stuff, you know, coming up. But, you know, right now, I feel like, well, Armored Core is for a certain audience, but not for everyone. And Starfield is for a certain Bethesda audience, but not for everyone, right? I don't think like we've hit our stride with big new releases yet. This is the beginning of the fall gaming season, don't get me wrong. But it definitely looks like when we get into the second half of September, and particularly October, is when there's going to be gaming overload of so many new releases that I'm going to have to even just pick and choose between everything that I'm doing to really determine what games we're going to be playing, because there's no way I can even play all those games in October. There's just far too many. So in October will be wild, all right? I've also been thinking about this month and if we should do any kind of a special event, okay? And we've been talking about this. Every month this year I did a special event, whether it was a long-form react to documentaries about Pro Jared or the Second Wings of Redemption documentary. We actually did a long-form react to the Internet Historian earlier this year, if you remember. And then we had specialty events, such as my Super Bowl event back in February. We had the Street Fighter event called the Fight and Feast. Then we had the Digital Summer Party. And then just recently, of course, we had the Machinima event. And then we had the 15th anniversary event. So we had a lot of special React-style content this year, plus a lot of kind of fun marathons. But I guess the question is, September, should we do one or not? And we've been talking about this. And, you know, for me, probably the two things I would want to do, one would be some kind of a special throwback retro event, because I haven't done anything like that in a very long time. Possibly playing a classic game like Super Mario Bros. 3, or maybe a marathon of like the classic Mega Mans all in one setting as a marathon. I think that would be pretty fun and neat, as something different to do. Or we could do a long-form React event. Now, what would that be? That would be up to you. There's plenty of stuff that's happened in the last year, React content. I mean, June the King particularly has done a ton of new documentaries, none of which we've watched. So we could easily do something like that. But I guess what we should do is really this week, because now we're in the first week of September. This is the week we should talk about it and determine what do we want to do. And it seems like a lot of people in the chat right now, because I am reading the chat as I talk, seem to be of the impression that we should just not do one this month. That this month we should just lay back and kind of relax a little bit, and then maybe in October get back to it. Well, here's the deal. All right, if we were to do that, so in October, what I'd like to do is once a week, I'd like to review a horror movie over on DSP Reacts. So once a week, a horror movie kind of deal. And I kind of have an idea, I think, of what I want to watch, but I'm not sure yet. I need to kind of solidify that idea before I lock it in. So maybe once a week, review a horror movie, and then we have our big Halloween marathon at the end of the month. And you might say, well, what is the Halloween marathon? Well, we do this every year. What people do is they nominate games for me to play on a marathon on Halloween. Now, some years people have picked more horror-themed games, and other years it's not. It really depends. This year particularly, if you're not aware, there's 2 horror-themed video games coming out in October. There's Alone in the Dark, and there's Alan Wake 2, and they both come out the week of Halloween. So, it stands to reason that perhaps we could play a little bit of each of those games for like an hour or so during that marathon, but we could also play a bunch of games that you guys nominate. And the question is, what games would you guys like to see me play during the Halloween event? And what we do this every single year. We have people nominate. So the members of the channel, we get to nominate in one thread, and then the standard viewers get to nominate in another thread. And so the members will likely end up picking like a couple games, and then the standard viewers will pick a game or two. You see? So that's probably what we'll do this year. And that way it incentivizes being a member, gives members a little bit more priority and a little bit more power over the course of this event in October. So we could do that in October. November, of course, we're going to do what we did last year. It's going to be the return of the Adpocalypse, or we can call it Adpocalypse 2.0. This time around, we'll be reviewing, I'm sure, way more kinds of ads. Last year, we had so many advertisements that people nominated, and it ended up being one of the most fun events I've ever done. Just sitting around reacting to retro ads was super fun. There's so many out there to watch, and I cannot wait to do this again with you to celebrate, you know, Black Friday / Thanksgiving here in the United States. So that's going to be special. And then, of course, we always do a Christmas event as well. The Christmas event has tons of stuff that annually happens, including usually it's the beginning of a new Bethesda playthrough, a throwback one that is, as well as, you know, all kinds of holiday festivities and the like. So we have events scheduled for the rest of the year. If we skip September, I don't think it would be the end of the world. And that would give me more time to focus in on Armored Core, Starfield, Lies of P, Mortal Kombat 1 in particular. Of course, the end of the month, there's also the expansion character Aki in Street Fighter 6. So those are my main focuses this month. And, you know, again, I will take in your feedback over the course of the next week or so. Right now, it seems to me like the people in chat are saying, just skip it, don't do an event this month. If that's the case, that's fine. That does mean that there is going to be a lack of content over on DSP Reacts, because typically it's, you know, React content and stuff comes out of those marathon events. All we'll have is the weekly shows, you know, DSP versus the internet once a week. I'll have to see if I'm in the mood for like if anything, if I review anything this month, it might be the Flash movie. That's about it. Like, I'm not really planning on doing anything else particularly this month. Nothing stands out to me that's going on to do review-wise or anything. And since we're not doing any kind of special React stuff, you know, that would have to last us the whole month. So, all right, we'll see. I'll continue to take in your feedback. If you're watching this on demand, please give me your feedback. I want to know what you want this month. Should we do a special event or not? Should we skip it? Should this be the month that we just do a big skip? You know, let me know your thoughts, okay? Okay. So, that's what's going on right now around here, all right? Now, update on my health. There is some good news. My neck is almost better. Almost. And what I mean by that is I'm really not feeling too much lingering sharp pain anymore. If I move my neck a certain way, then I get some tenseness and some pain and uncomfortable nerve feeling in my shoulder. But after having kind of slept well for the last 2-3 nights, it is getting better every day. Like progressively, every day I wake up, I'm like, oh, I feel a little better. I feel a little better. This probably means that within the next couple of days, I'll be all right. So what it was a bad nerve pinch. This has happened to me before. This was not nearly as bad as the worst one I've ever had, where I had numbness in my thumb for like 3 months. But you know, it's scary when it happens, and it hurt. Like right now, it hurts. If I move my neck in a certain way, I feel it right here shooting in my shoulder, and it sucks. But it is what it is. It's genetics, shitty genetics, right? I got problems with my lower back in my 20s. Now I'm in my 40s, and I'm gonna have problems with my neck, I guess. So we're just gonna keep having problems for the rest of my life. What can I do, right? But I'm happy. I am feeling much better. Obviously, I don't like feeling in pain or whatever constantly. So that's a good thing that, you know, it is getting better here. So, all right. So that's that. Now, before we get to shout outs and open discussion about stuff, what I would like to say is thank you in advance to those who support my content. As you guys know, 15 years I've been a YouTuber, and at no point during that time period did I ever decide to sell out. I never became someone who was all about paid advertisements, shilling product, trying to make money, selling you junk. I was never about that. I mean, yeah, did I have merch? Because you wanted it, and I made $1 per sale. I never cared about that stuff. It was never about me being an influencer. It's about me putting out meaningful content for you that's honest and truthful and transparent, and us having a good time together. And it's always been my philosophy that if I'm putting out great content for you and you're enjoying it for free, that there will be people who will support that content to keep it going. Whether that's simply liking my streams and videos, leaving comments on them to add engagement, spreading the word about my content, which is huge, you know, word of mouth. That's how people find out about me primarily, because outside of that, it's all slander on the internet about me. But there's other ways that you can go above and beyond. Today, you can do a super chat or a super sticker. You can become a member or gift a membership to the channel to help out the community at large. Or you could do a tip. A tip is a great way to contribute that goes directly to PayPal, and it cuts out the middleman. There's no real tons of, you know, processing fees or anything for those PayPal, contributions. I get them right away. They help me buy games and stuff. So whatever, it's all good. Anything that you use to contribute today is great. Today, particularly with this React stream, it's very important to get that support because I don't make ad revenue on the videos I do for the React channel. So if you like what you see today, please support in some way. And by the way, whatever you contribute during this podcast carries over to the React show. Even though technically I'm switching channels. For example, we have tip goals. Those tip levels maintain and carry over. So if we raise $20, $30 on today's podcast, that'll carry over. And if we hit another 20 on the React show, it'll be 50 and we'll get our first reward. I'm not going to reset the meters or anything like that. We keep it rolling, okay? Excuse me. Jade says, on Halloween, can we watch some Rob Gavigan? Perhaps we will. Maybe that will be something we'll do as part of the Halloween marathon, that we'll maybe watch like an hour of Rob Gavigan and we'll react to him. We'll do a little bit of the horror games that are out. We'll do some classic horror games that people nominate. Sounds like a plan. Sounds like a good variety of stuff we could do on the Halloween event. Yeah. Cool. All right, so that's that. Let's now talk about one news story. There's one news story today I wanted to cover. However, I think I forgot to change the colors. I did. So hold on one second. I'm very upset with myself because I was not ready for this. There we go. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to DSPN or DSP News. We have one news story for today before we get to shout-outs. Today, ladies and gentlemen, is the 25th anniversary of the release of a classic game that to this day people still hold in high regard. A lot of people actually believe this game is the game that brought cinematic quality to video games. That before this game, really games were more about heavy gameplay and not about cinematic story elements. But that this game completely changed that and flipped it on its head. Cinematography combined with epic gameplay elements. Full voice acting. Rare game at the time to have that. Okay? And it wasn't full motion video with it like a fucking shitty Sega CD game. It was actually a game that had great gameplay elements plus full voice acting. Okay? And it is a game that began an epic franchise that to this day is applauded and lauded as one of the best ever. Today is the 25th anniversary of Elmo's Alphabet Adventures, ladies and gentlemen. So thank you very much, Elmo. Elmo, always knocking it out of the park every time. No, I'm kidding. It's the 25th anniversary of Metal Gear Solid on the PlayStation 1. Hideo Kojima was still in his 30s when he released the game. It was definitely a different gaming climate and a different world back then, to say the least. Like, I remember when that game came out and I was playing it and I was like, I have no idea what I'm playing. You would play the game for like 10 minutes and then all of a sudden it would go to like dialogue cutscenes between people on this comm going two-way radio style. I was like, what is this? It's like nothing I've ever played before. It's so weird. There was so much voice acting. That was the other thing too. Like, there was so much voice acting. Like, wow. It really was groundbreaking. Now, I'm going to be honest with you guys. I hated the game. I did. I bought it for PlayStation. And I heard so many good things about it. And I bought it and I hated it. I was like, I don't really like this. I don't like stealth. That's the thing. I wasn't a stealth guy. I didn't like stealth video games. But I didn't know it back then because they weren't prominent. Metal Gear Solid 1 brought that stealth style element gameplay to the forefront. And I just did not enjoy the game because I didn't like stealth. Years later, of course, as a YouTuber, I played Metal Gear Solid 1, and I sucked at it, and I hated it, and I still was terrible at stealth, right? But over the years, I've grown more of an appreciation for what the Metal Gear franchise was, Metal Gear Solid in particular. Playing games like Metal Gear Solid 2 and 3, HD edition multiple times, Metal Gear Solid 4, and of course Metal Gear Solid 5 when it came out as a new release, I actually really enjoyed. I thought it was one of my favorite games of the year. I was sad that the game felt completely unfinished because it really was. You know, Konami essentially fired Kojima and his team through the project. They weren't done with it, and they said, too bad, time's up, and they forced them to kind of rush out a project that wasn't done. And that was a shame, because I've even said to this day that Metal Gear Solid 5 could have been one of the best video games of all time if they just finished it, but they weren't allowed to. So, with all that being said, the Metal Gear Solid franchise has a huge place in history. And in fact, Kojima-san had some words to say about it on social media this morning. Hold on. Here you go. This is actually straight from his own post on Twitter this morning. Excuse me, the X app this morning. So Kojima-san says the following. Metal Gear Solid 1 was a major turning point for me. Not only was it the first major PlayStation game to be released worldwide, but it was also a major change in terms of production. Although I had previously planned, written, and designed and directed the game, my superiors had been responsible for the production. I had no authority to make decisions on platforms, budgets, release dates, promotions, hiring of staff, participation of outside creators, and so on. When is it effective to sell? How would it be enough to turn a profit? How would we sell? We were not even told how to sell the product. If you have a black box, you can't move flexibly. Interesting way to put it. For Snatcher, now for those who don't know, Snatcher was one of his older games back in the Sega CD era. Very rare game. Almost no one ever played it because it didn't get big production. And right now you could get it for it's really expensive to find a copy. So, for Snatcher, there were advertisements that revealed Lisa's identity as a Snatcher before the release of the product. We were not allowed to choose our staff or on which game platform we created games for, and we were not allowed to collaborate with outside creators. So in 1996, when they established a production subsidiary in Ibisu, I participated in the management of the company. Metal Gear Solid 1 was the first work that I ended up producing on my own. To reduce the monthly electricity bill, I asked the company to stop working at night. I also launched a drama series in parallel in order to turn a profit as soon as possible and ported Bomani in order to stabilize the profits for that fiscal year. Wow. So he was given control of the boat, per se, and to make this game viable, he had to do all this other stuff he didn't want to do. He had to make a drama series that was completely unrelated, and he had to make Bomani games. That's pretty funny, actually. I never even knew that. But you hear what he just said? When his game Snatcher came out, for those who don't know, Snatcher was supposed to be like a detective noir story set in the future, very similar to Blade Runner, where in Blade Runner, you don't know who's like a synth and who's not. You don't know who the robots are, right? Well, guess what? Snatcher is a similar game. What he's saying is, because he didn't have control over Snatcher, the entire plot of the game was spoiled in advertisements. Morons were putting ads out saying, oh, this character is a fucking Snatcher. So what was the point of playing the game? You already know the plot twist because the advertisement spoiled it, right? So what he's saying is, for the first time ever, he was in control of the entire game, but it was an incredible amount of pressure and risk because he had to make ends meet. Don't work at night. We got to save money, right? We got to make Bomani games here, right? Well, I mean, think about it. Back then, there wasn't even major Bomani. It wasn't like you could buy Guitar Hero at home. So, you know, what games was this? Who even knows, right? But, pretty interesting to hear from him on that, on this 25th anniversary. So, to Kojima-san, thank you for a 25-year history of awesome Metal Gear Solid games. Sorry that there won't be any more. I guess, what can you do? That's life, right? But, onward and upward, and I wish him the best with his future endeavors of other games. You know, I believe he's making a sequel to Death Stranding 2 is his next outing, if I remember correctly. So, well, we'll see. We'll see what, or a sequel to Death Stranding, not a sequel to Death Stranding 2. You know what I'm saying. All right. So, there you go. There is one other news story, although this one is not gaming related. And this one is just so ridiculous, I feel like I should just tell you this because you're probably going to laugh. Are you ready? Ladies and gentlemen, Toy Story 5 is fully in production, which makes no sense because everything's on strike, but yet somehow it's in production. And the rumor has it, get this, Andy, the original boy who owned the toys in the original Toy Story movie from the 1990s, will be returning as an adult, and his family, including his children, will be an integral part of the plot of Toy Story 5. Toy Story 5. All right, how many people have actually seen the Toy Story movies? Raise your hands. I've seen every single one of them so far. I have, okay? Toy Story 1 is a masterpiece, in my opinion. It's superb. At the time, even though today the animation doesn't hold up, at the time, it was groundbreaking what it did. The plot is insanely cool. It's just a really original, creative movie. It thought outside the box. It actually laid the groundwork for what I feel were all the other future CGI movies, right? It really did. That was the one that got the ball rolling and got a lot of confidence in CGI can work, okay? So, Toy Story 1, amazing. Toy Story 2, pretty good. I didn't personally like it as much as the first, but after having seen it multiple times after, I do think it's grown on me more. I like that they add more characters into the world that make sense, that fit into the lore of the game, the lore of the movie and everything. Still a great movie to this day. Toy Story 3. For me, this one's kind of a mixed bag. There's some things I like about Toy Story 3 and some things I don't like about Toy Story 3. But if Toy Story 3 was meant to be the epilogue story for, you know, the toys, then it's not a bad movie at all. It explains how life can go on for these toys when you're not necessarily owned by a kid anymore, or when you've been forgotten or you're an outdated toy, you could still have some kind of use. And it was actually kind of heartwarming because, let's be honest here, a lot of toys, after their time period, don't get used ever again. Or, as we saw in Toy Story 2, become collector's items for people who just put them into boxes for forever, and they never actually get used ever again, right? So, when you're watching Toy Story 3, and you see, oh, now the toys actually can go to, like, one of these orphanages or a playroom for, like, kids at a school, that they can still get used, that's neat, right? That was kind of a cool, awesome send-off for the whole franchise, and I felt that Toy Story 3 did a great job of that. And then they decided they were going to make a Toy Story 4, all right? And I saw it, and listen, I don't dislike it, okay? I don't. I actually think that it has some interesting plot elements and some neat things that happen. But essentially now, we've gone outside the realm of, like, what you really care about. You know what I mean? Like, do I care that Bo Peep, one of the toys from the previous movies, went off to start her own settlement of toys in the forest or whatever, and they're living out there, and then there's another boutique of toys, and the toys are like, what? Like, what the fuck is going on? I thought the whole point of Toy Story is that toys actually are alive, and it's following their lives, entertaining children, and have, you know, trying to keep under wraps that they are alive. That was supposed to be the point. When you get to the point where it's like, oh, now the toys aren't even with kids anymore, and they're going out and they're doing their own thing, and they're at a toy store, they're at a carnival, and they're doing all this weird shit. What the hell is that? Well, you lost the spirit of what the movies were supposed to be. Now, if you like the characters, you probably like Toy Story 4 because of the development and everything that happens. There is a lot of character development and stuff in that movie, but at the same time, it's like, dude, we've lost the way of what the whole point... The charm of Toy Story 1 is completely lost in Toy Story 4 because it's not even the same plot anymore. You see, the characters have gone off in their own ways and their own lives in such directions that it doesn't even matter. It doesn't even affect the core plot line anymore. You see? So, and then, of course, do we even have to mention Lightyear? The fact that they tried to do a spin-off movie pretending that one of the toys was a real spaceman. I mean, what a dumb thing that lost them insane amounts of money because they're just morons, right? So now when you tell me Toy Story 5, the toys are going back to Andy, the original owner, and his family. It's like, well, technically it shouldn't have just been what it fucking was going to be anyway. Like, shouldn't it have been like, so he was a toy for Andy, or they were all toys for Andy, right? And then eventually, maybe you could even have the collector's plotline of Toy Story 2. But then eventually what should have happened was maybe, you know, they got put into storage or whatever, and then all of a sudden they get taken out, and now they're toys for the kids, right? When they're kids and they get played with the new generation. That could have been the ending epilogue that, you know, your 2 generations of Andy's family that they were entertaining for or whatever, right? Why did it take us 5 movies to get there? Why did we need... If 3 was going to be the ending, that's fine. But why even make 3 if that was just going to be a fake out for them to make more movies later anyway and undo the nice ending that they created? Because really, I'll be honest with you guys, when I watched the end of Toy Story 3 when it was a new movie, I cried. I was like, dude, that was amazing. That was an amazing way to end that plot. Even though I cried over fucking toys that don't exist. I'm a little sissy, all right? But I loved it. I thought the ending was good. Like, this is meaningful. It makes you feel good about watching this franchise and having some investment in it. And then they made 4 and they erased all those good feelings. Really. Like, it was like, well, it was all for naught. It was all a waste of your time, right? And now they're making Toy Story 5 and it's like, why not just kick me in the nuts repeatedly? As hard as you can. Over and over. And let's see what happens. That's to the news today. All right. I guess it's time for us to get to shout-outs now. Okay. We start off today on the YouTube side of things. We have The Danimal, who became a member for 23 months and continuing. Thank you so much, The Danimal, for almost 2 years of ongoing support here on DSP Gaming. And he says, what's up, Phil? How did you like the Starfield so far? Well, it's like I've said. Starfield so far for me seems like a combination of Fallout and the Outer Worlds. That's really the best way I can describe it. And there's nothing wrong with that. I think a lot of people are looking for them to, again, reinvent the wheel or make giant, groundbreaking strides, and they haven't done that. But I'm enjoying what I'm playing. I'm getting lost in the world. I'm enjoying the side content, the immersion, and everything that we're finding in this first major city. I'm excited for tonight, where we're going to actually advance the plot a bit. So, overall, I'm having a good time with the game. I really am. I'm enjoying it. I'm hoping that it stays at the level that it is, and it continues to be fun and exciting. However, that being said, I'm wondering if the entire game is the same. Meaning, if you do a ton of content in one major city, right? You do some story. Well, you then get to another world, another major city, and then there's more of it. And then you get to another world and another major city, and there's more of it. Is that what it is? Is that the whole game? Or will there be a lot of other stuff? Will there be stuff such as big segments of combat? Because you remember Fallout had that. Fallout had like giant segments where you had very challenging combat and the like. And then all of a sudden you go to a narrative-based part that took forever too. I wonder, because right now we haven't really seen that. We went to the first research base, which was some combat, but not a ton. And then all of a sudden we got thrown into this insanely huge city that seems like you could get lost there for ages. So I guess we'll see. You know, what's coming. But for me, I am enjoying it so far. I am liking the game. Because I didn't go into it with these, I feel like, unreasonable expectations. I kind of knew what Bethesda was doing, what they were capable of. So I'm liking it. Okay? That's my opinion on it so far, but I'm only 6 hours in. So, okay, and shout out to Jake. Jake is our first super chatter of the day. Let's get him up on the leaderboard. Thank you, Jake. All capitals, by the way. Okay. Oh, big yawn. I don't know why. Sorry about that. All right. Swinging over, we have one tip so far this morning. All right, let's see. It's a $1 tip, and it is from Slayer. So let's get Slayer on the leaderboard, and let's see what Slayer has to say this morning. Okay. So, he says, I'm going to be honest with you. As much as I enjoy watching your playthrough of Starfield so far, compared to me playing it, you seem to have skimmed through a lot of side missions you can do. You're not talking to all the named NPCs. You're skipping some dialogue options. You're not exploring the city as much as you can. You haven't gone to all the different districts, buildings, and businesses. You should also try to familiarize locations roughly like where the well is and the shop's general location. Each different planet has their own cities and stories you can follow. It's interesting, so I hope you can focus more on side missions as well. If you're focusing on the story missions for today, I might check in on your playthrough later when I get further into the game. For now, I'm still exploring different planets in the system before I continue with the story. The game will be my focus for months to come. Anyway, hopefully you can implement the advice I recommend and take your time through side quests. Hold on, just scrolled off the screen. Oh, that's it. Take your time through side quests. Okay. So here's the thing. All right? I feel like this is the kind of game, all right, where I'm going to have to say this all the time. And it's fine. I don't take offense, and I take in all valid, constructive suggestions and criticism, okay? But here's what you got to understand, okay? Starfield in particular is exactly the kind of game that 10 people will play it, and 10 people will get 10 completely different experiences out of it. Because you might have someone who's more apt to combat, so they're going to try to find all the combat missions and just do those right away. You might have someone who really likes narrative, so all they're going to be doing is searching through every single piece of information and reading every log fully and getting every dialogue option out of every person and totally trying to immerse themselves in the narrative world before they progress on. There's some people who are only in it for the story, and once the main story is done, then they'll go and they'll take their time to go explore the rest of the universe. All right? Everyone's different, okay? And that's the beauty of a game like Starfield, is that it really can be played in completely different ways, all right? My first session of Starfield, 2.5 hours was intro, all right? We got to New Atlantis. I did some exploration, and then I immediately wanted to go to Constellation because that's where the story was going to advance, because I knew that that would probably unlock things for us, which, by the way, it did, so I was correct in my assumption. That's kind of how Bethesda operates, is you got to at least get to a certain level of the story in order to make enough progress to unlock a lot of stuff, okay? So I did that, and then immediately what I did yesterday when we were doing our second session, I said, let's hold off on story, because we just arrived at the biggest, hub city so far. Is huge, right? Let's explore. And we spent 3 hours, an entire major stream, just exploring. We went to the well. We went to the commercial district. We went to the residential district, right? We were checking out the hub stations and all of that. We were talking with all the people we ran into. We did a significant amount of side content, right? I probably would say 5, 6 major side missions. We leveled up my speech. We leveled up my lockpicking. We found a rare weapon hidden in a secret room, which was really neat. We did a lot of stuff that would all be considered the free roam side content of the game, right? And that's well and good. But you have to understand that my experience with this game is going to be very different from others. Why? Because I am a live streamer. I'm interactive with my audience, and I have to entertain an audience. It's not just me sitting here playing the game for myself. I have to find ways to create variety and advancement and interesting things happening so that the audience doesn't ever feel too overwhelmed with one style of stuff. I, be honest, after having played 3+ hours of the side content of Starfield yesterday, I had a blast. I could easily sit here and do another 3 streams of it. I know I could. But what would end up happening is you'd see no combat whatsoever, no upgrades of the ship, nothing, just me wandering the station talking with people for 3 hours at a time for another 3 streams. People would definitely say that they're bored. They'd be like, this is too boring. All you're going to do is talk to people constantly. Where's the game? Where's the gameplay elements, right? So, what I do is I strive to give you variety. So tonight, on a 2-hour late night stream, I'm going to focus on the story. I want to see what happens with the story. We haven't really even done anything with the story besides brought this artifact to Constellation, and that's it, right? So, tonight, let's see what happens. Will we leave New Atlantis and go to a new planet? Will we not? I don't know. Will there be combat? I hope there's combat tonight, because I'll be honest, yesterday there was almost none. It got kind of boring in some parts because there's nothing really going on action-wise, all right? As much as I love the narrative, and yes, exploring and learning the lore of this world is nice, at some point, like, okay, let's get some variety. I don't want to just do this constantly. So, that's the goal for tonight. Let's get that variety in there, right? Now, I'm not saying, because I'm doing 2 hours of story tonight, that I'm going to continue to do the story nonstop, and I'll rush through it, and within 2 weeks, the story's done. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying we got to keep it going back and forth and have enough variety, right? So tonight, let's see where the story takes us. Then maybe when I play this again on Tuesday, we determine, all right, do we want to keep going? Do we want to maybe reassess? Am I in a new world now because of the story we want to explore? Do we want to go back to New Atlantis? Because there's 2 quests at New Atlantis that apparently will get second sections, and you need some time to pass before that happens, right? So perhaps we should wait and come back and do those later. But you see what my point is? If I just sit in New Atlantis and I just do content there for a week, everyone will get bored with this game. Everyone will tell me, why are you still there? Like, what are you doing? This game is giant and massive and all these things to explore, and you've chosen to sit there in the same hub settlement endlessly, all right? Now, here's the thing. There's nothing wrong with doing that. There's literally not, I'm not going to say to one person out there, you shouldn't be doing that. No, enjoy the game however you want. That's the beauty of a game like Starfield, is that everyone can play the game in a different way and enjoy it at a different pacing, a different style. For me, yes, what I'm seeing is this game, when you get to these giant hub cities, will have tons of condensed content. But I don't think my audience wants to see tons of condensed content, right? If you take a look at some of the classic Bethesda games we've played, like Fallout 3 or New Vegas, when you get to a new hub city, there's content, you're there for an hour or 2, you unlock the quest, but then you're off. You leave the city and you're off to explore. You're going to different areas. You're fighting monsters. You're looking for loot. You're doing this stuff. You're not just sitting there in the hub city endlessly. So, yeah, I feel like I kind of have to break stuff up. You know what I'm saying? So, I hear you. I thank you for your criticism and your input. But I'm asking for your consideration that I cannot play the game exactly like you are. It sounds like you said, this will be your game for months. And you know what? From everything we're seeing in Starfield, it looks like that might be the case. Like, if there is a dozen hub cities, and each hub city has like 10, 15 hours of content in each city, and you do the math, you're talking, probably 150 to 200 hours of content in this game. You very well could be playing this game for 2-3 months, and that's it. And that's fine. If that's what you're looking for, great. Enjoy. But for me, I do definitely have to keep things at an entertaining pace for an audience, a viewing audience. So I do have to keep things moving to some extent and make sure that we're not always just bunkered down in one area doing the same thing over and over. For example, yesterday, for the very first time, I investigated the research and the upgrades, all right? And honestly, they're very complex. First, you have to have components to do the research. Now, you don't need all the components. You could have more of one than another. Then you can do with something that's called like an overflow. And then you can still do the research. Even though you don't technically have all the components, you can still initiate it. But then once the research is completed, now you need more components to actually utilize what you just did. So maybe you researched the way to make food. Well, you can't make the food till you have food components. Now you got to find food components. You see, it's complex. We sat there for about 20 minutes doing this, and people were already complaining on the stream, this is incredibly boring. We don't want to see you play with menus. We want to see you play the game. I mean, technically, the menus are the game. Okay? But you have to understand, yes, I basically have to try to appeal to a lot of different people at once. It's frustrating, and it could be very challenging. It's something that I've striven to become better at over the years since I've been an interactive streamer. It's challenging with especially a game like this, but I think I'll get better at it, especially once we see the depth of the content in Starfield. Maybe we'll say, okay, we'll have, tonight is side content night, where all I'm going to do is we're going to explore side content in this area, and then next time around, we're going to do a shipbuilding night, and a base building night, and a building up our companions night, and then the next stream we'll do story, right? I might have to do that. That might have to be the way that I pace it, so that way we have that variety, and it keeps the playthrough moving and interesting. So, let's see. Let's see what happens, but yeah. Apologies, there's just no way that I'm going to be able to be in line with what everyone is expecting from me for this playthrough. And if you're someone who has spent 25 hours in New Atlantis and haven't even advanced the story with Constellation yet, yeah, you're probably not going to want to watch my stream from tonight. But I got to at least keep stuff going to the point where we want to see where the game's going next, right? Okay. Continuing on. Someone took $1 and says, Woody left the gang in Toy Story 4's ending. How on earth would Toy Story 5 work without him? Because he's coming back. Of course. No, this is the point I'm making is they don't need to keep making these movies because they basically just keep making the last movie completely worthless, right? If Toy Story 3's point was to show how the toys can still continue to be happy and make children happy without Andy's family, like an epilogue. But then Toy Story 4 went on to show how these toys can actually be happy without having to entertain a family, but instead can go off and do their own thing, like with Woody and Bo Peep. That's great. But then what the fuck is the point of Toy Story 5? In Toy Story 5, did they find a way to make it so that the plastic and wood doesn't rot? They start coating themselves in, like, lacquer and shit? Like, what is the... Why are we going back? Right? So, I don't know. It does seem very silly to me. Very, very silly to me that they're making a Toy Story 5. Thank you for the tip. I received a $5 tip from Canadian Kirk. He says, speaking of which, do you think human beings will ever colonize the galaxy? Will that be a task that sentient super advanced robots will accomplish? Let me put it this way. Okay? How about this? This will be an interesting take. Alright? I feel that the human race can achieve some pretty amazing things. I mean, if you think about the things that humans have achieved that are groundbreaking, how on earth does a creature that stands anywhere from 4 to 6 feet tall, right, create a building structure that towers into the sky so high that you can't see the top from the ground? Right? How is it that we found a way to communicate and transfer energy and data through the invisible stuff around us? No physical connection. It's just we're doing it at a moment. So right now, I'm transferring to you through the internet. I'm not there with you. I'm not actually sitting next to you talking to you. But this is amazing technology, is it not? How do we come up with all this stuff? Right? It's nuts how smart people can be. The only thing that's holding people back is people. That's literally it. It's the human race that holds the human race back. Because when we get so wrapped up in our own shit, right? When we get wrapped up in our own politics, and our own religion, and our own, this group is better than this group, and this group is ahead of this group, and this one controls all the resources, and this group is below making the resources. When we get into the deep down way that humanity has always existed, all right? That's what holds us back from true progress. Because if we lived in a society, oh God, did you hear what I just said? We live in a society. If we lived in a society where people realized that if everyone truly looked out for one another and took care of each other, that would actually mean that everyone was okay. And I know people say, well, that's communism. Well, it really isn't. Because communism has been tried and failed. It's not. See, the thing is, it's kind of an esoteric thing. Because it's never really been done. But if everyone just looks out for each other and takes care of each other, then we'd all be all right. And then we could work towards common goals of progress. But instead, think of it this way. Well, let's go colonize Mars. Okay, let's do it. Well, wait, we can't. Why? Well, someone has to finance it. Okay, let's have rich people finance it. Well, they're not going to do that. Why? Well, because they have to make a profit on it. Right? Wait, what? Well, yeah, they need something out of it. Forget about just human progress. We can't just do things on the fact that we want to advance as a race or a civilization. We actually have to have a reason that we benefit from it, right? So how do we benefit? How do we start selling condos out on Mars and timeshares and shit? How do we start, getting duplexes that you can rent space and shit? That's what we got to figure out first. How do we sublet all the units out? How do we figure this out? And then once we have this insane, complex, way profitable scheme, then we'll roll out with how to get to Mars and start colonizing it, right? Because before that, we'll never do that. You see, we have to think what benefits us, what's going to get us ahead, and that's the thing about our societies. The whole point of us thinking only about ourselves holds us back. You see, really, if people were just like, listen, we all just kind of want to get ahead. We all want to advance. These things will all be better for everyone, right? Like right now, how much do you want? And then I know this sounds like a conspiracy theory because it is. But at the same time, I just want you to think about this logically, all right? You're telling me that there's no way that the common science or doctor studies or whatever you want to say, medicine, modern medicine, can figure out a way to shield us from the common cold. Now, I understand that the common cold is not just one virus. It's a million things. But you're telling me there's not just general ways that we can prevent it? That we're destined to always catch the common cold? Or could it possibly be that there is a billion upon billion upon billion dollar profitable industry of them selling over-the-counter remedies for the common cold that don't cure it, but just treat the symptoms? And so because it's so fucking profitable, they will never cure the common cold because they don't want to, because they want to be rich. You see? So, and the thing is, yeah, there is a way. I guarantee you right now, if you talked to the top minds on this planet, they'd be like, absolutely, we could stop it. It would cost an insane amount of money, and we'd have to do this crazy research, but we could roll it out and make sure that no one ever gets the common cold ever again. We would have a way to prevent it, whether it's a vaccine, whether it's just things you do, filtration systems, whatever it could be, we could stop it. But where's the profit in it for anyone? Well, there is none. Therefore, no one will ever do it. Just keep selling your remedies over the counter. That's the problem with humanity. Everyone's always looking at things from an angle of how to get ahead rather than how do I benefit myself and everyone around me. So when you say, will we ever colonize the planet? It would be interesting if we tried it, but what's the benefit? If you remember, when the explorers first started to travel around the world and look at the new world and stuff, when you had Vasco da Gama and Christopher Columbus and all those, the French explorers and all of them going out, what were they looking for? We're like, wow, we just want to find new places to expand. They're like, no, what can we loot? Where's the gold? Where's the spices? Where's the new rare things from there that we don't have that we can then loot and bring back home for monstrous profits? That's why they were doing it. They didn't care about culture. They didn't care about, oh, we can expand. All they wanted was to sack shit, right? So that's what I mean. That's human nature, you know? So, if you told me that they found giant veins of rare minerals and shit that they could sell back on Earth, on Mars, we'd be there in 5 minutes. Elon Musk would be on the next SpaceX jet out there, and he'd be mining it himself. Space cheese, that's valuable. He'd be eating the cheese and bringing it home. But that's what I mean. Right now, we'd have to figure stuff out. How does it make it profitable, or what's the benefit? Because no one will ever finance it and make it viable until that happens. Then all of a sudden, overnight, it'll be the next major thing we all talk about and everyone cares about. But until then, that's how humanity is, right? That's just how humanity is. So, that's my take for now. Maybe my take will change in time. You know, I try not to be too political there, but I mean, in general, I'm from what I've seen of human nature, I am kind of cynical. Are there people on planet Earth who actually care about others? Yes, there are. Absolutely. And you want to know the truth? Those people are very rarely in positions of power or any kind of prominence. You know, you want to hear about someone who is one of the most normal rich people out there. I'm not even going to tell you the story. I want you to research it yourself. Go look into the life history of Keanu Reeves. That's all I'm going to say. Go look at that man and take a look at someone who's a normal guy, who's rich, but just wants to be a good person and help others, and that's all he cares about. That's what you should look into. If more people were like Keanu Reeves on this planet, all right, this planet would be a very different place. That's all I'm going to say. You're absolutely right. That's a man, he lost his family. He lost everything. And because of that, he realized what was truly important. To this day, he's filthy rich, and he doesn't use any of that at all. He lives in a normal apartment. He gifts tons of money to people to help them. He almost all the money he made on the Matrix trilogy, he gave away. He didn't want it. He's the most normal guy you'll find who's rich, because he doesn't care about getting ahead. He doesn't care about hoarding for himself. He's just trying to help people around him and be a normal dude. And if everyone on Earth was like that, this would be a different place to live. It really would be. But sadly, that's an infinitesimally small amount of the population of Earth is like Keanu Reeves. And that's why we are where we are, you know? No, he did not lose his dog and go on a rampage. That was a movie he was in. Sorry, you got the a little confused there. Okay. Okay. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, that's what I've got. If you guys have a few extra questions and things you'd like to toss at me for the next few minutes before we, get ready for the react show, I'm all ears. What do you guys want to talk about this morning? Meatball Man says, what's your favorite fast food fry? For me, it's either Chick-fil-A or Arby's. In-N-Out are not good. Fast food fries. Interesting question. Five Guys has really amazing peanut fries. They fry them in peanut oil. I do agree that the waffle fries at Chick-fil-A are really, really good because they're seasoned. They taste great. If you're talking the stable like Burger King, Wendy's, McDonald's, I would pick Wendy's. Even though I don't think they're great, they're still better than Burger King and McDonald's in my opinion. I don't really eat fries that often, so I can't really answer the question in depth. You know what I mean? Like, I don't eat them that much. Arthur says, do you plan on hitting Master with all characters in Street Fighter 6? By the way, I'm enjoying your Starfield playthrough. I don't think I would ever be able to do that. It's too much of a time investment. Like, when Street Fighter 6 came out, alright, I was primarily playing Blanca, but I played a wide variety of characters, and it took me until the beginning of August I got Blanca to Master. Then I restarted on PS5, and it took me all of August, and I just, within that month, 1 month, got Blanca back to Master. Now, that's a character who I was already great with and had already learned a bunch of strategies and everything, so it took me only a month of playing. It looks like probably within the next week or two, I'll probably get Honda to Master. But after that, it's like starting from scratch. Like, even though I know Luke I'll probably do decent with, it's going to take a long time for me to learn enough strategies and everything to get Luke to any kind of competitive level. Same with any other character, whether it's Zangief or Lily or Dalsim or someone else who I try to play with. I guarantee you, it's going to take me a long time. And the thing is, being honest here, I know people don't want to see Street Fighter 6 as much. I love Street Fighter 6. I would love to play it tons, but people got burnt out on it after me playing it all summer, and they still want to see it, but I can't be doing it as 3, 4, 5 streams a week. At most 2, 3 night streams, and that's going to be it, you see? So with that time constraint, there's absolutely, positively, no way that I would ever know or ever try to get everyone to Master. It would never happen. I don't have enough time, you see? So, no, I don't think. Will I get some other characters to Master? Perhaps I will. Perhaps I'll find some other characters after Honda and Blanca who I like enough, who I want to focus on and get them to Master. But that's going to be a hard climb. That's going to be a really big endeavor for me, you see? Derek's favorite Toy Story was Toy Story 3. Toy Story 3, if that was the last one, would have been amazing, but they fucked it all up. No. See, here's the thing. Comment Frenzy says, can't you say that Keanu got something out of his charity work because it boosted his public image and helped market him? No, because it didn't. Because no one knows about it unless they do the research. Keanu did not go out there and publicly do giant press conferences explaining how he's donating all his money to charity to help the people. He just did it. And then he went on with his life as if nothing happened. He's not looking for recognition. He's looking to help people legitimately. He's not trying to get by donating his money and helping others. He's just trying to help others, as opposed to, again, look at these major companies that every year they have to announce all the charitable things they've done or whatever, because it makes them look good, when in reality, if you looked at what the company actually does, they're a scumbag company, and then they did that one nice thing to try to offset it, right? That's the difference. You can tell people who are actually doing something legitimately just to make them look good in some respect, while others do the good things just because they want to help people and be good. Okay. I have had almond milk before. It's very sweet. It's good, but it's very sweet. So I don't know if I liked it that much. It's nutty but sweet, right? If I remember correctly. Juan, I have no idea what you're talking about right now. You're talking about some song. I don't know what you're talking about. Sorry. Oh, it's true. Arthur says, I thought you said master is where you said you'll really start to learn the game, but I understand your time constraints. No, that's absolutely correct. Once you hit master level, you weeded out the vast majority of idiots. There still are idiots there. In fact, it's been said now that there's like 50-some thousand people at master rank now, and out of that, like they said, they did the statistics, something like over a fifth of them are literally pattern mashing Kens. They just played so much in the last 3 to 4 months that they artificially earned their master rank. They didn't actually like consciously win and play the game well. They just played enough that they kept gaining enough points mashing their bullshit patterns online that they got enough wins to get to master. All right? But in general, once you get to master, you must have some kind of an understanding of what you're doing with your character, right? And yes, master's where you're going to play all the good players. They're all in master right now. So that's true. But for me, how on earth would I ever have the time to get everyone to master? It's never going to happen. I wish, but I don't think that will ever happen. I mean, hell, I played, what, 13 of the characters out of the 18 when the game released. I never even got to the other 5. To this day, I've never touched Kimberly, right? Jury, I only played for like an hour during the beta. That was it. Guile, again, I played during the beta for like an hour. That was it. You know, there's a character, I never got back to them. So because of that, there's characters completely unused by me. And like, when would I even get a chance to try? I don't know. Let's see here. Orcs are Dorks has re-upped his membership for 27 whopping months. And he says, good morning, DSP and friends. Good morning to you, Orcs are Dorks. Good to have you here. Okay. Huh? Derek, I got rid of that imposter. I just saw them and I got rid of them. No problem. What's one of the last movies I watched and I would recommend? Shoot, Dungeons & Dragons from earlier this year. Honor Among Thieves. Surprisingly good movie, well written, well acted. Everything was pretty good about that movie. I really enjoyed it. It's a shame that apparently it didn't do well and now they'll never make another one, but I really liked it. I've never seen the 1990s Berserk anime. I've heard of it, but I've never seen it. You really like the Mario movie, Derek? I did not. I seriously didn't like it. I thought that it would just try to appease everyone who likes mainstream pop culture shit. It didn't really explain the lore of the Mushroom Kingdom. It didn't make sense of any of it. Just like, oh, so the Mushroom Kingdom exists. And then, oh, also, King Koopa exists and wants to take it over. No explanation why. Oh, there's also the Kongs are there for some reason. Okay. Oh, there's just Mario Kart tracks everywhere. What? Wait, what's going on? All you did, you made a hodgepodge of everything of Nintendo and crammed it together with a bunch of pop culture references and really shitty writing because I didn't laugh. Like, there were no funny moments. I wish there were, but I wasn't laughing at any of it. It was bad writing. Like, the whole King Koopa, Bowser, Peaches song is not funny at all. It's weird. It's like, what is going on? Why is this supposed to be funny in any way? How did this go viral like a meme unless people are just stupid? I don't get it. I just don't understand it. I didn't like the movie. I was very disappointed because they had an opportunity to do something epic and create a meaningful narrative in a world with character development. And they did nothing. It was just, here's just an action movie with Mario elements in it. Here you go. Enjoy. Oh, don't you hear the song is playing from a Mario game? So you should be appeased if you like Mario. No. I wanted Mario to be a serious movie with a narrative and all kinds of interesting stuff. And you frivolously skipped that opportunity to make an action movie that really didn't make sense and wasn't very fun. Okay. I received a $4.20 tip from Radical Jaws. He says, I second what you're saying here. I never touched a fighting game in my life. I'm using modern controls. I don't even know how to properly use Drive Rush, but I made Platinum with Zangief and Gold 5 with Lily. This game feels so forgiving to rank up in. No, you're right. The way that it works is that if you're just playing enough and you're not... I think people... like I said, someone actually made Master with a 20% win-loss ratio. Think about that. 20%. They were only winning 1/5 of the time they played, and they made Master. What the fuck? Like, that's insane. But that's how they made it, right? And it's crazy because you got someone like me... I have a 60-something% win-loss ratio. So it's like, if you're winning more than you're losing, you're eventually going to hit Master. How the fuck are people losing more than they're winning and they hit Master? You know? So, yeah. Absolutely. Good afternoon, Cracker Jacks. How are you today? Good to see you. Back to the Future 2 is an amazing movie, Juan. I hope you enjoy it. I love the Back to the Future trilogy. Very good movies. Armor Core 6 continues tomorrow. No Sleep Real Lives. That should be fun as well. I can't wait. I had a lot of fun last time, not only beating Baltius, but then unlocking the, the chain guns and going with a new build. And then I ran out of time, and now it's been almost a week, Arthur, I did not see me versus Snake Eyes from his point of view. First of all, it wasn't a set. It was a match. A single match. But I'm sure he was, I didn't give him anything impressive whatsoever. You know what I mean? Like, I never fought a Zangief who understood spacing as well as he did. So I didn't realize he was going to catch me in the ways that he caught me. Like, he was catching me outright with stuff. I was like, anyone else was going to not be able to do that. He was just ridiculously, setting me up. I was like, oh, shit. But no, I did not see it from his point of view. I'm sure he didn't have much to say. Well, what's he going to do? Compliment how I got my ass beat because I don't know what I'm doing against him? I mean, probably not. He probably said, fuck this guy. Fuck him. He sucks. Yeah, kick his ass. Look at this fucking Blanca scrub. Yeah, take this, you son of a bitch. Bend over and take it up the... Oh, who is that? Oh, that's someone on YouTube? Oh. That's probably what he said. He didn't say that? Oh, darn. Okay. Oh yeah, there's a new Wonka movie coming out around Christmas, right? It's supposed to be the origins of Wonka, how Wonka became Willy Wonka or something like that. Yeah. Pausen became a member for 19 months. Good morning. Good morning, Pausen. Thank you. All right. Welcome, everyone. Some people are just joining the podcast. If you're here, we're about to adjourn within just a couple of minutes, and we're all heading over to DSP Reacts for the React show. I hope you guys will make the jump and join me and hang out with me today for the React stuff. Hopefully it's a good one. And remember, all support carries over, so everything you see here, and the tips, it all carries over there. So we'll have a foot towards our goals already. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. The React stuff this week seems to be all over the place. Like, the variety is wild because we have so many members over there now. Over 150 members we're nominating this week. So those videos are, like, huge variety. Like, wacky stuff. Sadly, I couldn't watch a lot of them. And I'll explain that. I already explained it earlier on this podcast, but I'll explain it as we start over there this week. Because people who are nominating need to know the rules. And a lot of people are not paying attention to the rules. And I can't watch some of these clips. But we'll talk about that in a minute. Excuse me. That was really disgusting. Sorry about that. Do I miss the 80s? You know, it's funny, all right? Because now that I'm 40 years old, well, I'm 41. Now that I'm this old, I realized whenever you're at a certain point of your life, you will never fully understand how important that part of your life was and what would have been the best use of your time. Right? In the 80s, how would I have known that the way that the culture was and money was and everything would change? Within 20 years, the whole world would be a little different. So, you know, in the 80s, whenever you flew somewhere, you had a great time on a flight. It was like luxury class, food, really cool party atmosphere whenever you were traveling. Today, you go to travel, it's like insanely crammed airports. Everyone's frustrated. The flights suck. There's no food. Everything's terrible, right? You know, it was different back then. Even, you know, pop culture in general, everything was so crazy different. How things were on TV, music, MTV and stuff was huge, right? Video games, are you kidding me? Video games, how that would change in time. And that's the thing. So now I look back at my youth. I look back at when I was in my 20s. And I'm like, man, what would have been my optimal use of that time, right? Probably not doing what I was doing. Probably not traveling just to play grassroots Street Fighter, right? And wasting all my money doing that and all the other shit that I did. But they always say that hindsight is 20/20, right? So the older I get and I look back at another generation, man, that would have been better use of my time. Like, my early days as a YouTuber. Now I look back at my early days as a YouTuber and I'm like, well, listen, I worked my butt off, right? And I made a lot of money back then. But at the same time, here's something I could have done different that would have been better, right? Here's some way I could have reacted to something that would have been better. If I maybe rolled with the punches of people making fun of me on the internet, it wouldn't have gotten to the point where now I have these crazy stalker losers who just want to fucking like ruin my life, you know, full time, right? But that's partially my fault for the way that I reacted back then. I created that almost cult of hate around me, right? And you look back at all those things and you're like, man, what could you have done better? What if you were back in that, like if I was 10, 15 years in the past, but I had the knowledge I have today, all the things I would have done differently, right? I would have been a streamer earlier and stuff like that, right? You know, but there's no point in reminiscing about that stuff when it's already too late to change. You just move forward positively. And that's the thing. I'm trying to live in the moment and enjoy the moment for what it is. That's really like the most important thing I've been trying to do. Enjoy who I am, the audience I have, the fun we have, the life I have here with my family. Enjoy all of it now and don't take it for granted. Because I do feel like there were times in my life I didn't understand how important it was. Back when I was in my 20s and I was fully healthy. I didn't have back issues, neck issues, blood issues, all kinds of shit, right? Now I have all that. It's like, well, you know, it's life. You learn with experience, right? Okay. Abdullah, yeah, we've talked about Free One Up from time to time, how that was the person who I did that. We were both prominent YouTubers doing Street Fighter content, and I did a set with him very early on in the life cycle of Street Fighter 4, and I literally didn't hear from him since, so. Okay. Okay. Guys, I think it's time to say thanks, and let's move on from the podcast. Let's get the React show set up, all right? As usual, what happens is when this stream goes off, if you're watching live, you'll see a pop-up say, hey, head over to the podcast show. Please head over there. I'll get that started within a few minutes. I'm going to take a little break, use the restroom or whatever, and then, you know, by 1 p.m., we'll get started over there, and I'll definitely let you guys know what's going on. We do have to do a small segment outlining the rules, because sadly, a lot of people did kind of not listen to the rules this week of what was going to be nominated, so I need to let you guys know about that. But outside of that, I think it should be a good show. I hope you'll join me over there. I'm excited for DSP versus the Internet, and I want to say thanks. You were a great audience here for the podcast. Remember, this is very important. On my React days, the entire React stream, I'm not making any money on any of that, the videos or whatever. So it's the streams that are important. If you can support my React stream today in some way, that would help me a lot to make that channel continue to be viable, especially because we're not doing any special events, it seems, this month. Please support the DSP versus the Internet streams in any way you can to make them viable so that I can keep making that channel happen, all right? Okay, thank you guys very much for a great show, and I will see you over on DSP Reacts. Thanks for a great podcast. I hope that you guys enjoyed it. The fall is upon us with all of its games and exciting fun, and I cannot wait to spend more time with you soon. All right, guys, thank you. I will see you over there. Peace out.